who are going to read tonight, all of the poets who have read here before, and all of you who will hopefully take some inspiration from the night and come back in 2 weeks with some poems to read. We've got a lot of upcoming events here at Auntie May's. On Thursday, there's the annual Auntie May's lighting ceremony. We're going to light that tree up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Y'all should come out. And more announcements that I'll be making later. So how many of you here have been to a poetry slam before? There, I see 2 hands raised. How many of you, by sound of applause, have never been to a poetry slam before in your life? That's what I like to hear. Lots of virgins in this room. Don't worry, we'll be gentle. A poetry slam. Poetry slam is the competitive art of performance poetry. What's going to happen, we have 5 judges sitting here up front. We've got 8 poets, 7 poets who are reading tonight. A poet... We have 5 judge teams. A poet will come up on stage. They're going to read a poem they wrote that is an original work by them. No props, no costumes, no music. And when they get off stage, these fine judges in the front are going to give them a score from 0.0 to 10.0. 0.0 being the worst poem they've ever heard. Alright, so 0.0 is like, if you heard the poem and you were offended, it was racist, it was sexist, you can't really prove it, but you feel like somehow it had something to do with the creation of the movie Spice World, that's a 0.0. A 10.0 is like the best poem you've ever heard, simultaneous orgasm, everybody in the room creams their jeans, we're all having a great time, you would be willing to give up sex for a month to hear that poem again. Judges, your job tonight is to not let the audience sway you. Stick to your heart, stick to your guns, judge the poems as you see fit. Audience, your job tonight is to sway the judges. Audience, if you hear a poem that you love, that you thought was great, and the judges give it a 0.0, what are you going to do? Don't bullshit me. There are too many of you in here to be that quiet. If you hear a 0.0 given to a great poem, what are you going to do? We'll work on that. We'll work on that tonight. If you hear that same great poem, and one of the judges gave it a 0.0, you booed a lot like that, that was good, and another judge gives it a 10.0, what are you going to do? Alright, I think we're ready. Are we ready to slam? No, that was a joke. First, before we start the slam, we have to have some blood spilled on the stage. We have to have a sacrificial poet read a poem to let these judges practice their judging abilities, for you to let them know what you think about their judging, and to get us all in the mood to hear some poems. So, if you will please give a warm welcome to our sacrificial poet of the night, Michael Malekade. Hi. It's a pleasure to be here. Judges, you will score this poet as if they are part of the competition. Standing at the head of the battlefield, I feel like a mountain my troops would never dare climb. Knowing the things I have done, they do not respect me, but they fear me, and they listen. I think it's my glorious beard, the distinctive scars on my hands and my eyes, threatening as a painting that is always watching you. They call me the general. It's my job to scare the weak demons out of their bodies and replace them with something. Honestly, I never know what to say to a group of shivering boys about to taste combat for the first time, but all the gods of my profession climb through me and leap out of my mouth, the patron saints of suicide bombers, and they tend to leave an impression. Standing in front of these young men, watching their fear curdle into frenzy, I can imagine the badges collecting on my uniform. I feel like the leader of the most feared military this dirt has ever felt march across me. Which is to say that sometimes, when I'm lucky, standing in front of these kids helps me forget that I'm just a 7th grade gym teacher. I get paid $30,000 a year to watch a flock of fat kids run the mile faster than I ever could. Shit's depressing. And Woody Allen once said, those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach, teach gym. Then again, fuck Woody Allen. He probably never played dodgeball, never held the hopes of his fallen teammates in his trembling hands, never felt the hot rubber kiss his face like a drunk porn star. And I'm just a 7th grade gym teacher. My students call me the general. It's my job to make them sweat out everything they learn in all their other classes so they can come to know their own bodies, intimate as the hum of new machinery, so they can learn themselves into weapons. I teach them the mathematics of the fight, the science of thinking with their feet. I teach them tech edge shit. I teach them poetry. And I also teach ballroom dancing. I love pairing the shrimpiest boy in class with the only girl in school who has already reached puberty. I like to watch the little guy suffer. And I teach them the fundamentals of dodgeball, like if you spend too much of your time looking down, I promise you will be crowned with failure. If you are the first to fall, you are a sideline prayer bead for your teammates, and if you are picked last, that only means you have been given the opportunity to laugh that much harder when you finally win. Standing in front of these kids, watching their fear curdle into frenzy, I know exactly what awaits them. Heartbreak, debt, so many failed job interviews that they actually consider becoming 7th grade gym teachers. And I know, I'm not sending these kids out to the killing fields, but sometimes I can't tell the difference. So I prepare them for battle. I give them Sunday afternoons in the middle of the week. I give them something to believe in. The glory of an undefeated season. The virtue of grass stains and sweat. And the feeling of somebody up there must love me that comes like the breeze of a dodgeball past your face. And I'm just a 7th grade gym teacher. But my students, they call me the general. Hey, that was Michael Molecular. Give him a round of applause. Judges, you should be writing down your scores right now while I say some useless things that don't mean anything to kill time. And I'm going to say, judges, 3, 2, 1, put your scores in the air. And Jimbo's going to write them down. From low to high, we've got an 8.6. Nobody cares. What do y'all think about that score? Got an 8.7. A 9.2. A 9.3. And a 9.4 from Michael Molecular. So that's how that thing is going to work. Somebody's going to say poem. We're going to have fun. It's going to be scored. And we're going to figure out who wins and stuff like that. Poets, just so you know, if you want to adjust the microphone, because I'm very short, on the left-hand side there's a little twisty knob. You twist it, pull it up, down. Looks like you're masturbating. It's a lot of fun. Alright, so the order of the slam tonight. In this order, the poets of the first round are going to be Zachary, Jelani, Adam, Jimbo, Cherry, Dan, and Blake in the first round. Let's give a round of applause for everybody who's going to touch the stage. Keep that round of applause going for your first poet ever at Auntie Mae's Mighty Fine Poetry Slam, Zachary!
Please don't.